Hey there, in today's video I'm off to the park to test the Asics Metaspeed series. The Edge, the Sky Plus, the Sky Paris, and finally the Edge Paris. I'm making this video because I have 5 Asics Metaspeed shoes. I have the original Edge and the Sky. I then bought the Sky Plus and I bought the Sky Paris and the Edge Paris. I found a big difference between the original Edge and Sky in terms of their use case and their design and construction, running feel. I wanted to run another marathon. I ran Berlin, so I bought the Asics Metaspeed Sky Plus shoe. I enjoyed it. I didn't buy the Edge in that iteration. The Edge Paris and the Sky Paris were announced. I tried to figure out which one to buy. It looked to me, having bought the previous 2 Sky versions for marathon running, I wanted to run another marathon. I thought, yeah, I'll buy the Sky Paris. But it turned out there weren't so many differences between that and the Edge Paris. So I bought the Edge Paris. And so far I've run 50 kilometers or so in the Sky Paris, 30 something kilometers in the Edge Paris. Long runs, short runs, and I haven't really been able to separate them out. So I decided to take all 5 to the park to do a 5-shoe shootout. And what I'm going to do is do a kilometer in each shoe, then come back to the car and change. I've picked the order of the shoes as the Edge, the Sky Plus, the Sky Paris and the Edge Paris. And the reason for that is it's very hard to tell the Edge from the Sky in the original iterations. I have them in the same colorway. You can tell by looking closely at the phone, but after a kilometer run at pace and then trying to change over, it's not as easy to do. So it's actually easy to start off in the Edge, which I'm on my feet now with the Stryd foot pods. Start off in the Edge, come to the car, switch into the Sky. That's very easy to do. Then switch out of those into the Sky Plus. Then switch out of those into the Sky Paris, switch out of those into the Edge Paris. And that way I have all 3 Sky shoes together to make a comparison. And then I have the Edge bookending either end. So that's my plan. It's looking, it might rain a bit, but track should be dry. It's not too windy. It's usually windy here. It's not too windy. As always, this video might be long. Chapter markers down below, so you can skip on through to the bits you might be interested in. Let's get going. Well, as you can probably see, I'm finished the run. I'm on my way back to analyze the data and make some more videos. My impressions before I started running and actually when I ran in the shoes was fairly similar in all of them. I thought the Edge, once I got into the Edge, I knew it would be more firm, less stack height. I knew that, enjoyed running in it. I got into the Sky and I knew I'd feel more cushion. I knew it would be more cushioned ride. There's more stack in it. So I knew that. And again, I felt I was going well in that shoe. Put on the Sky Plus. I knew the same thing was going to happen. I knew I was going to feel a bit more cushion in the forefoot. And I enjoyed it. I thought I was running quicker. I'm not sure I did run quicker in it. And we'll see what the data says. When I finished, I didn't feel I was running quickly. What I did was I set the power target on the Apple Watch. I didn't pretty much watch what I was doing. I just wait. Sometimes if I was going over the power target, the watch would say slow down, and then I would slow down accordingly. Other than that, I paid little attention to it, ran on field. Then what happened was I swapped then into the Sky Paris. I immediately noticed the extra stack height. I immediately noticed the more cushioning, and I felt more wavering in the shoe. It felt much more wavery, which often is the case in high stack shoe. I felt more wavery. I ran around in it. I definitely went further than that than in the other shoes as far as I could see, but that wasn't the objective. The objective was to try and run at the same pace and the same range and then judge what I want to do is judge my stride length, my cadence, my vertical oscillation and my ground contact time, paying particular attention to the stride length. Then I swapped out into the last shoe, which was the Edge Paris, and I really enjoyed it. I much preferred it instantly. I felt less of the wavering. Yes, it's firmer underfoot for me, but there was a lot less wavering for me, and that was a real benefit. I'm imagining the data says something fairly similar to the Sky Paris, but we'll go back home, we'll go inside and we'll analyze the data. This workout was designed by Steve Palladino. It's part of the marathon training plan. When I saw it, I really liked it on my Stryd data, and I thought that's an app I'd like to repeat, or a workout I'd like to repeat. On the Stryd platform on the phone, you can design your own workout, and then I sync it with my Apple Watch so I get alerts and I can see what's going on. So I found this really good to do. So I copied this. Essentially, it's 5 blocks of 5 minutes. There's a warm-up before, warm-up afterwards, and in between there is about 2 minutes 45 of sort of cool down. That suits me. My local park is a kilometer route pretty much. I can run around, get to the car, change the shoes, and go again. Of the 5 shoes, 2 are new, 3 are old. Naturally enough, they're all the Asics Metaspeed Sky series. I typically retire them at 200 kilometers, simply so that I can have them all in a similar condition when I'm testing for subsequent versions like I'm doing now. The Sky Plus has, I'm still running those, has 137.59 kilometers. The Sky Paris has 54.36 kilometers, and the Edge Paris 36.98. Those are the 2 newest shoes. I've done a lot of testings in these shoes. In the Edge, I did a 10K over Howth Head here in Dublin, very much enjoyed it. I ran the Buckeye Marathon and the Chicago Marathon in the Sky. I set my personal best at the time in Buckeye. In the Sky Plus, I ran the Berlin Marathon, equaled my personal best. And the latest duo, the Sky Paris and the Edge Paris, I've been doing some long hill runs. I've done some treadmill time trials. I've done various runs in the park to try and figure out which of these shoes I might consider for running in Boston, which is, on the basis it's less than a week away, I better get cracking. For me, the most interesting part of the new Metaspeeds series is the weight, specifically the weight lost. To compare them all, the original Edge is 225 grams, 7.95 ounces. The Sky was 230 grams, 8.45 ounces, so a little bit heavier. It bloated in the Sky Plus to 249 grams, 8.8 ounces. And then Asics' significant achievement is to get the weight down in the 2 versions. My Sky Paris and my Edge Paris both weigh the same at 228 grams, 8.04 ounces. To give some context, the Metaspeed Paris series are all lighter than the shoes I did in the last test. The Sky Paris was in the last test, but apart from that, the Vaporfly 3, by way of comparison, was 242 grams, 8.54 ounces, and the New Balance Fuel Cell Super Comp Elite version 4 was 287 grams, 10.12 ounces, and that lightweight will come into play into the results. All my Metaspeed shoes were the same price, €250. I've put links in the description below to the different prices in the different countries at the time I got them, but yeah, they've stayed the same throughout the duration of the range here in Europe. To give some caveats before we go, there's a very small data set. There's the old lab rat. There's only 1K of running in this test. The data is affected by the pace. I tried to run at the same pace in all the shoes, but on a windy day with twists and turns, it's not, you can't always do it identically. And I took the 1 kilometer split for all of these shoes from exactly the same place. It's after the start, about 20-30 meters in, and then I take 1 kilometer for getting the data on Stryd. I'll put all the data up here so you can read it as we go along. The Metaspeed Edge, power 324 watts, pace 437 per kilometer, 726 per mile, cadence 187 steps per minute, Stryd 1.16 meters, ground contact time 223 milliseconds, vertical oscillation 6.14 centimeters, and vertical ratio 5%. Metaspeed Sky, power 327 watts, pace 437 per kilometer, 726 per mile, cadence 187 steps per minute, Stryd 1.16 meters, ground contact time 217 milliseconds, vertical oscillation 6.27 centimeters, vertical ratio 5%. Metaspeed Sky Plus, power 324 watts, pace 438 per kilometer, 727 per mile, cadence 186 steps per minute, Stryd 1.16 meters, ground contact time 226 milliseconds, vertical oscillation 6.35 centimeters, vertical ratio 5%. Metaspeed Sky Paris, power 329 watts, pace 433 per kilometer, 719 per mile, cadence 188 steps per minute, Stryd 1 meter 17, ground contact time 235 milliseconds, vertical oscillation 6.21 centimeters, and vertical ratio 5%. Metaspeed Edge Paris, power 327 watts, pace 436 per kilometer, 724 per mile, cadence 188 steps per minute, Stryd 1.16 meters, ground contact time 230 milliseconds, vertical oscillation 6.18 centimeters, and vertical ratio 5%. What I'm really interested in is the Edge versus the Edge Paris, the Sky versus Sky Plus versus Sky Paris, and the Edge Paris versus the Sky Paris, the last two particularly. I was a bit disappointed when the results came back because the data wasn't particularly definitive. It was much more definitive in the last set of 5 I did, but they were 5 different, very different shoes. These are similar shoes with similar foam, with similar plate, similar uppers, run at similar pace. So I don't suppose I can be too surprised when I get similar results. And yes, there's a limited data set of just a kilometer, but I ran a marathon in this, the Metaspeed Sky, and another one in this, the Metaspeed Sky Plus, and in both in 2022 in Buckeye and in Berlin, I did 3 hours 53 and a couple of seconds. And yeah, so I had a whole marathon and they're both hard to separate. One of the things that I did notice was the cadence seemed to relate to the weight. The Edge and the Sky were 187 steps per minute, and then the heavier Sky Plus was 186 steps per minute, and then the lighter Sky Paris and Edge Paris were 188 steps per minute, and I did find that useful. I was interested in my intuitive personal data. The Edge felt fast when I put it on. It was the first shoe on. I felt fast, and I put on the Sky. It felt more cushioned. I could feel the higher stack. I could feel more bounce. And then I couldn't tell whether I was going any faster or not, but I was trying to run at the same pace. I put on the Sky Plus and I could immediately feel the stack and the springy forefoot foam. With the Sky Paris, as soon as I put it on, I could feel just more stack in it, and I could feel a bit of wavering. In comparison, the Sky Edge felt more stable, and I'll come back to that briefly. First thing I noticed also in the shoes once I got running was how really good the ventilation was in both the Sky Paris and the Edge Paris. But I could also feel something in the midfoot under my arch that was pronounced. I didn't mind it. I have heard some people find some strange feeling in the middle of the foot. Certainly I could feel something, but they both felt fine running, but one felt finer than the other, if I can put it that way. I preferred running in the Edge Paris. The foam is the same thickness, and there's a slice of carbon between them, and in one there's in the Edge Paris there's less foam between the plate and the ground, and in the Sky Paris there's more foam between the plate and the ground, and conversely less between your foot and the plate. And I actually preferred the feel in the Edge. Whether that's reflected in the performance, not so sure. What are my conclusions based on this limited test? Well, there's a significant achievement by Asics in adding lightness to the Paris series shoes. If I was to pick one, I'd probably pick based on the plate position is what's making the difference between two shoes. And if you like in the Vaporfly, the plate is down close to the ground. If you like that feeling, then the Edge is a shoe. And if you don't like that feeling so much and you're happy enough with a bit of wavering on the top, maybe the Paris. But I will have to do more performance tests before I can finally split these two shoes off. But what I can say is, conclusion 1 overall is lightness pays off. I really am interested in a light shoe. Conclusion 2, it's hard to split the Edge Paris and the Sky Paris. It depends on where the plate is to a large extent. And when you see the pointy end of marathons, you see people who are professional athletes for Asics, and they're in a variety of different versions, different series of Edge and Skies, and that's quite common. You see it the same in Nike. You see some people in Alphaflies, some people in Vaporflies, and some will be in Vaporfly 2s and Vaporfly 3s, and sometimes Vaporfly 1 or Alphafly 1 at the pointy end of the marathon. So it's really hard to pick these shoes. It's kind of pick your plate, as I've said before. And yeah, I'm going to do more testing to see if I can split them in any other way. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. If you did, it would be great if you'd hit the like button. As always, there'll be lots of stuff in the description below, and I'll happily answer any questions you put into the comments. There'll be a big blue subscribe button popping up there. It's made videos there. Thanks for watching. Until the next video, just keep running along.